Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be starting very soon. Hey, Wason. Hey, Jay. Adelson, Scorbit. Thanks for joining us. No, I know, but it looks good like this. Here we go. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Picture Pinball Show. It is episode 9, and it is officially our new favorite episode because we'll be talking about Marc Mandeltort, the founder and original owner of Marco Pinball. But hey, James, how are you?
Hello. No, I am fine. I hope everybody had a safe and happy holiday. And we are back again for another
Hey, everybody.
Big Picture Pinball Show. And yeah, this is a little bit different show than our other shows because we always highlight a filmmaker and talk about their filmmaking as it pertains to their love for pinball. And this show's a little different because we're gonna be playing some of our videos and some video clips that we've created about a very special man who was also the founder of Marco Pinball, but also he was the executive producer of our show. And he'll be very much missed. So we're going to do a pretty special show today. We're going to show a video that I think probably a lot of people have seen, and it was the first video that you and I collaborated on to produce. And this is the video that Moto and I met on and worked on together. And that's how we got involved with Marco. As well as, so many people have probably seen it. It's the About Marco video. It's been on their website and been around for a couple of years now. But with every video, there is a lot of content that we shoot that doesn't make the cut for the video or just doesn't work context-wise for the video. And we're going to share some really special clips that we shot. We're going to see the entire interview of Marc Mandeltort that we use for the video that we use clips out of, and it's entertaining as is. It's a really good video, and it's kind of insightful. So as I was kind of re-screening the footage, I was like, man, we should just show this, and I think it'd be a nice tribute to him. As well as you shot for our B-roll for the film, and B-roll is the cutaway footage that we put into the videos to kind of show, document things. But you did a very beautiful walkthrough with him, and he shared a lot about where he worked and his workspace and Marco behind the scenes. And this is never before seen footage. So I think it'll be kind of an insightful way to kind of, reflect on some of Marc's personality and some of the things that he created. As well as we also have some very special guests, which are very nice for them to come in to attend. So Marc's son Paul will be here, as well as a couple long-term team members at Marco. Marco Mirandez, as well as Steve Midge.
Marco Ramirez and Steve Midget.
All right.
You guys know that.
Anyway, long-term employees of Marco. Now, I also want to share a little thing too. When I first shot this video at Marco, and was working with Paul, Paul kept referring to Marc, and I'm like, wait, we talked about you doing a video about your dad. I did not connect that his dad was Marc for the longest time. And then once I finally met Marc, he was really nice. I assumed that the way he spelled Marc and Marco, that Marco was his nickname. I just assumed that, and then they named the nickname, named their Marco Specialties, the nickname of Marc, which was totally wrong. And then I realized that there was another gentleman that worked there named Marco, and he kept saying, "I'm not Marco. This is Marco." So I had to get it straight. And knowing me, it's it's always hard to get it straight.
So you know why they call it Marco Pinball, right? Where the Marco comes from?
Well, no, I do not. And by the way, we also have a name change. Everything that we've shot in this video, or a lot of it, was referred to as Marco Specialties. But
right.
It since now has had a name change.
So we are always and still will always be Marco Specialties, but we do go by Marco Pinball because the pinball is a specialties. But Marc was a very simple man, and I loved when he always told this story to people because he always kind of gave a little chuckle too. But it's called Marco because his first name's Marc, M-A-R-C, and then Marc's company, so it's like Marc Company. Marc Company. Marco.
Marco.
That's
nice.
Nice. Straight to the point. Anyways, so this video, James, that we're about to show, the About Us video, that was such a significant moment for us too. I have seen and talked to Marc at various shows for several years leading up to this moment, but this was the first time going to Marco Specialties, their office in Columbia, South Carolina, the new official pinball capital of the world, thanks to Marc. And it was the first time we both went, and Marc just opened the doors up for us and showed us a lot of things that, they wouldn't normally show people to. And this is like such a defining moment there, talking to him and doing his interview with him and Paul's interview, and just seeing how much passion he had for this industry, for this hobby, for the community, for just pinball in general, keeping it alive. Was so beautiful. And it's been, my passion has been trying to share his passion with everyone else for the past 3 years. So thanks for suggesting to do this video and for finding this footage for us too, James, because it's really awesome. It means a lot to us.
Well, they are very cool people. I've enjoyed them tremendously. I hope that there's some insight that they can get from these videos and these clips. And again, I'm playing them through. There's a couple, when you see this footage, it'll dip to black where we're kind of asking questions to him and he'll respond. We cut out those questions like you usually do when we start editing a video. But then toward the end of the video, once I've completed my questions to the extended interview part, it's fun because you and Paul start just chatting with him and interacting with him. And I just left that stuff in because it was fun as is and insightful to me how he was responding to you, how he was giggling and having such a great time doing it. And all that came out, I thought, in the video clips and made it for a much, much better video. So why don't we show that video? Why don't we circle back around and at the back end of that, introduce our new guest, and then let's just start watching some of this footage. So thank you very much, Emoto.
Cool. Sounds good. Let's go.
Want to be able to give customers confidence that whenever game they run across, they can call us and get that machine working and beautiful again. 30 years ago, before we got started, if you found a pinball machine, people would say, there's nowhere to get those parts. We don't know what to do. And so now, with Marco around, our customers are confident that they can call us and get those games working. Pinballs are little pieces of history. Most games will never get made again, so part of our mission is to make sure that these games are preserved for future generations to play.
Pinball's a special entertainment device. It's kinetic art. It's really not a toy or a game, it's really a medium. And as such, it's open to endless creative talents by the collaborative efforts of the designers and the engineers who make the things.
Pinball is a very limited resource. There's not many machines out there. And so the people that dedicate lots of time and energy into preserving and upgrading and presenting these games to people, and then also letting people play them freely in their communities, those are our favorite and best customers because they're the ones that are really carrying the torch for the pinball community as a whole.
People who own pinball machines are the most interesting people in the world. We have a customer list that includes corporate executives, rock stars, sports figures. They all have game rooms and they all have pinball machines.
We started investing heavily in these pinball community shows that are happening around the world, primarily in the US now, but we're starting to see them grow in the rest of the world as well. And this is where our favorite customers, the collectors that share, bring their games out to a public location and let everyone in the community come out and play for the weekend. It's a really beautiful thing, and we've been spending lots of time and energy of showing up at these shows as well and trying to also bring new games out for people to enjoy and to get those games in people's hands. We've seen that grow from just a couple of little shows to now there's over 20 shows throughout the country with thousands of games being represented, with hundreds of thousands of people attending these events. And it's just really rewarding to see that we've had at least a small part in contributing to the success of that aspect of the pinball community as it's been exploding over the last 10 years.
We have ourselves. Can you do us a favor and introduce each of you guys and what your role is at Marco Specialties? Can you do us a favor and introduce each?
Let's start with Paul. Yeah.
Oh, the subtitles were great. So yeah, I'm Paul
Just in case you
Mandeltort.
forget who you are.
What is your role? Yeah.
I passed the butter. I do a little bit of everything. I guess as of recent, I am now the CEO of Marco, which has still been a process thing for me. But until then, I was primarily leading tech projects and a lot of back-end work. And since I didn't really have a choice to be in this business, I was born into it. I've done just about everything in the company. But nowadays, I'm working on trying to get everything sustainable, working with a lot of people development, getting folks hired, keeping people from quitting, and everything in between. So it's been quite a ride.
Midge.
Hi, I'm Steve Midget. I've been at Marco for about 11 years now, and I've done pretty much every job there is to do. So what I do now is little bits and pieces of all those jobs.
Yeah.
And
Kind
he's
of in
our
the same
Marco
boat
TV mod. You guys know him from Pintech
kind of in
Live.
the same boat that Paul is, except I did it by choice. So that's on me.
But did you?
All right,
So
Marco.
I'm Marco Ramirez, general manager for Marco Specialties. I always get the whole "Are you the owner?" question, and Mark would always say, it depends on who's asking, right? But no, I've been with the company going on 10 years now, and I handle a lot of the day-to-day as well. Any of the on-site stuff. Managing our leadership team, helping develop and mentor anybody that has any interest in latching onto our team and kind of growing. It's been a really fun ride for sure. And looking forward to whatever amount of time I can spend with Marco Specialties and Pinball.
So,
That's awesome.
that is awesome.
I love these guys.
Steve and Marco. I mean, we know Paul's
How he met Mark.
how he met Mark.
His Mark
yes.
origin
He met Mark
story.
his origin story is.
Do you remember, Paul?
Do you remember? But we don't know.
A little deep for this podcast.
I like to know
The origin of life.
Oh yeah,
the
it's a
origin.
session now. All
I
right.
like to know the origin story of Steve and Marco. How you guys found the jobs there. Your love for pinball. If you do love pinball, what brought you to Marco? How did you get there? And then tell us if you have a little story about working with Mark in the past, something funny. If you could share that with us, that would be kind of cool too. Can we start? Let's start with Steve.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. I got hired off of Craigslist.
Nice. Craigslist, what a win. Best Craigslist hire ever.
Way,
We were shopping for pallets when we found Steve.
way back in.
Sure.
What a bargain! Way back in 2011, I had been working at a law firm for about 5 years, and just was soul sucked. And going in for the interview and talking to Nancy and Paul, I knew it was a place I wanted to be, and kind of fought for it a little bit and got it.
Yeah.
And 11 years later.
11 years.
Midge, did you like
no
pinball
fear.
before you started here?
I loved games. I've always been a collector of cartridges, consoles, that kind of stuff. But I really didn't know much about pinball when I started, and I've fallen in love with it over time. I mean, Mark is right. It is a medium, and it is kinetic art. Yeah. It's a world under glass. So, yeah, I mean, it's unlike any other amusement device, to say the least.
Yeah. What do you remember the first time you met Mark? What your interaction was with him?
We went to dinner because he wasn't in the office much at that time, but he did want to meet me. So Nancy, and I all went to dinner, and I had one of the most elucidating, incredible conversations with one of the most intelligent people I'd ever met at that dinner. And we talked about everything from neuroscience to astrophysics. I mean, we were all over the place. And he was just so excited that he had somebody that had a degree in philosophy and worked at Radio Shack.
I could so see that.
He also loved your film. He's like, I won't watch a film until Mitch watches it. Then he'll.
Yeah,
tell me if it's good.
I mean, and one of the
He
first
respected your film.
one of the first interactions we had was film discussion. So I found out that he was a film lover. So, I filled up a USB stick with public domain.
Yeah.
Correct
And,
answer.
and handed it to him, and he watched every single one of them, and reported back, and that just led to us becoming, friends. And he's a mentor and a friend. So yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll
What
never
about you,
forget the
Marco?
first thing about Steve. Is that once you found out you collected things, you're like, all right, this guy's cool. Like more like at Mark levels, which, as we all now know, is a pretty high level to be collecting at.
Some people call it hoarding.
Yeah. If Nancy didn't throw all the stuff out of the garage, it would have been. So that's basically how the business got started. Yeah. Sorry, Mark, I didn't want to.
Oh, you're fine.
That jet.
It's no worse than James Moriarty butchering my last name.
I do it to everybody.
That was a good one.
So I've been with the company since 2012. And I want to say it was either Monster or Craigslist for me too. I don't remember exactly, but I was leaving the supply chain side of things with Home Depot, and I worked for their distribution center. I started off as an area supervisor, and then I went up to ops manager towards the end of it. But I gotten tired of corporate America and just being a number. And so I was actually on my way out to move to Oklahoma, and my mother was like, "No, you need to try to find a job here locally." And I told her, so I'll give it 2 weeks, see what happens. And Marco Specialties called, and I went for the interview, and I mean, just seeing this place, my first reaction was like, holy crap, like, is this stuff even legit? Like, I mean, is pinball even still a thing? And I mean, there was stuff just everywhere. And I didn't even know where to start, but we walked through it. Mark walked with me, Nancy walked with me as well. Mark just gave me the whole rundown of the industry. And at that moment, I saw the passion that he had for the business and the drive. And I mean, it was something that attracted me from day one. We spent, I think, 2 or 3 hours in a round table interview with like 4 or 5 people. Paul was in there as well. But, it was inspiring knowing that he had just come off his battle with cancer at the time, and him just plowing through, and how he dove so much into pinball. He loved it. It was really, truly a passion for him. And so, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. And the whole way home, I thought about it, and I was like, I think I want to do this. And so they called me back, I think, like that Friday. I interviewed on a Monday or Tuesday. And the funny thing with that is, Mark being funny all the time, is, I'm Marco, interview for Marco Specialties, and he chose Marco's Pizza to go meet me to give me a job offer, to sign a contract with.
So, Mark, that's amazing.
Yep. Nice. Yep. And he was laughing about it the whole time. I remember Nancy getting on to him for eating too much of the pizza that was on the table and stuff. But that's Nancy. But it was an amazing thing, And in the back of my mind, and I told him, I was like, I'm going to try this out for a year and see where this takes us, and then we'll figure it out. And I never looked back after that. I mean, it's been a really fun ride, and I've dove into pinball, and I was attracted to it. And I mean, I've got about 14 games now, and wow. It's something that that Mark paved the way for, and it changed my life, to be honest with you. And I appreciate that, from him 100%. Like, it was definitely a good environment. It's a family environment. These guys are like my brothers to me, and Mark was like another father figure. So definitely, truly a great person and a great company.
You said it was 11 years you've been there?
10 years. 10 years. Yep, 10 years. This November will be 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
He always took everyone, the people that he liked, I think, under his wing, and really became that mentor, and like Marco said, honestly, like that father figure to so many of us. One of my first reactions with him before I started working with y'all was at Southern Fried Gaming Expo, and I was about to buy my first pinball machine, which was the hard body sitting over there for $1,200, and I was nervous, and I was like, it's a lot of money. And I walked over to y'all's booth, and you're like, yeah, just go talk to Mark. Mark will help you. And I was like, I want to buy this pinball machine, and I don't know what I'm doing. Could you please help me? And he was like, oh yeah, where's that? Go show me. And then we walked together to where that game is. He found the guy who's the owner, was like, let me see under the hood. And like, just like a dad would when you're buying, you know, your kid's first car, he checked it out, checked everything, was like, and he was like, this is messed up, this is messed up, this is messed up. $600. It's all you're gonna get for it. and the guy was like, okay, sold. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then, you know, later on, you know, he took me back and he was like, you know, just change the fuse and you should be okay. He's a great businessman too, but just that, like, that kind of like, oh, he helped me buy my first pinball machine, and it was less of a daunting experience. And there's so many of that, just with our history with him. I only knew him for 3 years, nothing like y'all, but man,
and you saw him a lot more than I did. I just got to see him at shows, but he was always kind enough to play a game of pinball with me. I always asked him, it's like, would you please play, you know, a game of pinball with me? He's like, you're the only guy that's asked me that entire show. So every time I saw him, so every time I saw him at a show, I would go play a game of pinball. We played the Godzilla pinball last time I saw him, and we were playing Godzilla, and he was like, this is the best pinball game I've played forever. And at the same time, he was just so happy to play that game. It was just, you could see it on his face.
He played it a lot that weekend. And then at one point, Paul shut off the giant inflatable Godzilla, and it ate Mark.
It ate him.
That's
He
one of
went
the
over
greatest
to go
things.
save it.
Yeah. Sorry, Dad.
Well, why don't we play this interview that we shot all the way through, and let's play that, and then come out on the other side and talk a little bit more, and then we'll play another video after that. So why don't we share this footage and see what you guys think of the other side?
Yeah, these interview footage that you're about to see, I just watched it. It's gonna blow y'all's mind. You really see the passion Mark had for all of this. So let's go over and check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
All right. Stand by.
Something to say, but I'll wait.
Sounds good.
I'm Marc Mandeltort. We are in Lexington, South Carolina. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but I'm an adopted native here, having been here about 35 years. So the short story is instead of going to classes during college, I played pinball and became a pinball delinquent, and eventually found my way into the arcade industry during the Pac-Man boom of the 80s, having worked for several now defunct companies. And in lieu of getting into other more established industries, I chose to focus on pinball machines. After all these various arcade chains came and went, and distributorships came and went, and manufacturers came and went, we knew there was a need to keep these machines out of the landfill. So we always had a problem sourcing parts, and that seemed to be a vacuum in the market for pinball parts. Like so many companies, we started in the garage, and after my wife kicked me out of the garage, we were forced into the pinball industry full-time. We started with a paper catalog that I wrote on Word, actually, and that evolved into a fatter newsprint catalog pre-internet. And then the internet came along, and with the help of family members, we evolved into probably the first internet pinball presence. You know, the people in the pinball industry in general, not just our company, are all passionate about pinball. And we look for people who also have that same passion to be in the industry. It's not the highest paying industry in the world, but it is the most fun. So we look for like-minded people to work with us, and we've found them. We have, fantastic managers and helpers and workers and road people, and I hope they enjoy it as much as I do coming to work every day. It's never the same thing twice on any given day, and the industry continues to grow. It's been on a roller coaster for the last 80 years, and we're back on the upswing now. Yeah, during the boom years, Bally bought the Aladdin's Castle chain, and they had 400 stores in all the malls around the country, and they had picked up several other chains with names like Land of Oz, and I'm not sure if Nickels and Dimes was in there or not. But I had been recently laid off from the nuclear business, which was a good thing, and helped open several of the stores here in South Carolina in the malls under the Aladdin's Castle and Land of Oz name. They since went under during one of the many video crashes of the last 20 years. Oh, and of course there was Showbiz Pizza, which was also a large Chuck E. Cheese-like entity that had 200 stores, which also went bankrupt. But that was more of the entertainment type industry with more redemption games and very little pinball. Pinball always seems to have held its value and its allure over the years even for people who were born before many of these machines were made. Wood rails or nice, wonderful pieces of kinetic art. All the museums that are popping up around the country are testament to that. And the barcade industry is also looking to go from games that are brand new all the way back to the 50s and 60s, just to give a little bit of history, context to the pinball machine industry. We see that's a very exciting trend. Yeah, I mean, we see all the new manufacturers, and that's exciting. We see the trend, I think I see the trend going from private pinball to public pinball, which is very healthy. Games on the street for everyone to enjoy is much better than having 6 games in your basement. And we see all the variations on that mixed with food and booze and pizza and pinball popping up all over the country. Here in Columbia, I believe there's going to be another one here in a month or so that'll be very exciting. But pinball's a special entertainment device. It's kinetic art. It's really not a toy or a game, it's really a medium. And as such, it's open to endless creative talents by the collaborative efforts of the designers and the engineers who make the things. So we're very excited to see people who are able to do that. And there's a handful of guys who are great at doing that, and they're mostly in Chicago. They're mostly at Stern. The new generation of makers are fantastic, that you have 25 and 35-year-old designers who want to try this. And hopefully new manufacturing techniques will enable them to do it, because it's a really complicated thing to build. Right, 3D printing will help everybody. Standardized electronic platforms help people build these things. The artists all over it, because your work is immortalized once it's on a pinball machine. And they are in short supply because there aren't enough pinball machines being manufactured to meet the demand worldwide right now, so the prices keep increasing on new and old machines. Yeah, there are 3,000 parts in a pinball machine. There are approximately 3,000 pinball machines having been made in the last 50 or 60 years. So whatever that multiplied by that is, that's how many parts we need to source to keep these games working. So we're maybe a tenth of the way there. I don't know, but we are, that's the mission. It's a goal that can never be achieved, but the journey is a lot of fun.
What's your slogan?
Our slogan is everything pinball.
And then why is it your slogan?
I couldn't think of a better one, really. Let's see. Okay. Because we attempt to have everything pinball. It's a journey, not a goal.
Keep the games from breaking, right?
Yeah, to keep them out of the landfill. Everyone is precious. A unique commodity.
Yeah. Why is it important? Why do you think it's important to keep pinball machines out of the garbage?
Because they are important chronicles of art and science, and pop culture. Things you can't say on a radio or in a movie, you can say on a pinball machine sometimes.
Oh, what is it like working with your customers?
It's thrilling. It's exciting.
Start it with,
Restate it as a question.
Actually, that is actually the best part of the business because people who own pinball machines are the most interesting people in the world. We have a customer list that includes corporate executives, rock stars, sports figures. They all have game rooms, and they all have pinball machines, and they gravitate to pinball. NASA scientists, .com billionaires, they all have pinball machines. And we get to chat with all these people at the shows and visit their houses, and it's very exciting to be in that circle of people with a common interest. Yeah, that is actually the best part of the business is our customers.
We still talk to the customers regularly.
Do we talk to the
No,
customers?
you do.
I do. Not as often as I used to, but a regular customer, a customer from day zero, I know. I used to know all of them, but now with over 100,000 customers, I don't know so many anymore.
what's the future for Marco Specialties?
Well, as soon as we explode from this building, we probably need to go to a larger one and keep proselytizing for pinball operation and ownership. And I think we've been somewhat successful in turning collectors into operators, which is a very exciting development for this industry, because people are passionate about who own pinball machines are excellent operators of pinball machines, as opposed to the old school operators that rarely did the maintenance on the games and just pulled money out of them.
So an operator for a pinball game is a place that would open that.
It would be a public operator, yeah, an exhibitor of pinball machines to the public. And that feeds back into the barcade industry and the pinball museum movement and all the guys who let the whole world and the show circuit. So people can get to see things that they ordinarily wouldn't see or play elsewhere.
What do you do if a customer calls and you doesn't have a part? You don't have a part.
We do everything in our power to try to source it somehow.
Rephrase the question again.
What do we do when the customer asks for a part that we don't have? We do everything in our power to try to source it. And that ultimately means we end up making it some of the time. And that becomes a very capital intensive endeavor. So we try to do that domestically. We are sometimes forced to do it overseas, but many of the pinball plants that made the components went out of business when the largest manufacturer, Williams, went out of business in 2000. So it's challenging to find certain components, and but we do. We spend all our time doing that, actually. Reverse engineering parts as necessary. Finding other people to do it for us, mostly. Contract manufacturing, metal, plastic, rubber. 3,000 widgets in a pinball machine. Circuit boards, we've done that. But we have a lot of hope from the community, since they're all technical people who own these things, so they're all engineers and software guys and hobbyists that work at the plants now. They all know the history and they have access to all technical specifications. They're the backbone of the business. Pinball is the greatest thing ever because it instills a sense of wonder in science and technology and physics in kids. Nobody doesn't like pinball when they're exposed to it. So that's a good thing about it. It's a teaching tool, among other things, as well as an entertainment device. So that makes it valuable on an educational level, on a philosophical level. Why is it better than a movie? It's 2.5 minutes of entertainment for $1. Yeah, it's pretty good, yeah. About the same price as a movie. If you're really good at it, you can drag it out for half an hour. Or yeah, no, it's a unique category of entertainment, and it certainly is more interesting than just software or video game. Even an immersive 3D virtual reality thing, it's not quite the same.
Could you see yourself doing anything else but working in the pinball industry?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not what you're supposed to say.
No, I know, but this is what I enjoy this. I enjoy this, and people around us enjoy this, and this is a passion. Gary Stern will tell you the same thing. You know, he didn't need to be in this business. It's by choice. It's nice to have a choice to do that. What else is going on in pinball? That's about it.
All right, we are back. That was amazing. His laugh, his sense of humor, and his laugh. We are gonna miss it.
Yep.
Well, Paul, can you tell us what inspired you to have this interview made of Marc, and how this interview came about? Can you tell us what was the inspiration to get this chronicled, archived?
Well, it's funny. It's actually when I met you in Chicago that I got inspired, because I started telling you the family story. You know, and we were just at a party together and hanging out, and like, oh, you're a filmmaker. Oh my, I love films. My dad really loves films, and in case none of you knew, like Marc was a huge film buff. At the end of the day, he just loved movies, and he loved production of movies. So like growing up, he had me and my sister Lynn, filming videos in the backyard. We're always doing silly stuff with that. We always had the very first video gadgets when they came out. I remember we had this old parallel port. It's called a Snappy. It could screen grab images off a video camera before digital cameras existed. So we had that back in the day.
Nice.
So he's always passionate about digital video. Yeah. So that's always been like, I think in another life, there's probably some key event which steered Marc off the pinball path, and he could have been a movie producer. Well, now he's a streaming TV producer, technically. So once we get on IMDb, one day we'll be there.
We'll get him on IMDb. That is still a goal.
Excellent.
He will be a movie producer, if not at one time.
So this really thing, he just loved the movie. So James, when I met you, I was like, oh, you're actually a professional movie producer. Because Marc always had respect for professionals in any space, and people that, especially in the art space. And so once I started telling you the story, I saw how interested you got in it, James. That's when I realized. And also, those of you that know Marc well know that he doesn't like being filmed and being on camera. He preferred to be behind the camera. So thinking back, like, holy crap, we don't really have a lot of footage of Dad. And we've been talking about, Nancy just recently retired, and Marc he had no other plans after pinball, but we wanted to make it so he didn't have to be there 70 hours a week. That was an option. It didn't always happen. He still was. So it's one of those things that I kind of had an oh shit moment. Like, oh, we need to get Marc chronicled more, because he's had always great things. I've heard it a bunch, and when you're around somebody like that who's so brilliant, like for all your life, you kind of forget just how special somebody like that is. Yeah. And so I'm it's kind of spoiled in that regard. But so yeah, James. And so when I met you, I was like, we needed to get Marc recorded, and I think I remember telling you, this is not an easy interview subject. You have to get him really comfortable. I
thought that he gave us a lot of nuggets in that footage. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard a lot of times to share source footage. I usually don't. But because I thought that he was so eloquent in a lot of that, and he looked like he was having fun, I rewatched it and I was like, yeah, I'll show this stuff. Why not? So
you're fortunate that you shared interest with Marc, but people that don't, Marc won't talk to him. So that's how so you think he's really quiet. It's no, he's just not talking about anything he's interested in, and then you just once you start asking about pinball, boom, and anybody who's met Marc at shows before, that footage is all very familiar. That was part of all this, all the things he truly believed in, and those topics came up over and over again. So again, stuff that he's passionate about, and he didn't have time to read a script or memorize lines or anything like that. So
You didn't need to.
Yeah, exactly, because he just loved talking about stuff so much. It's been pretty amazing. Yeah.
And he really did love the video production side. He was always behind the camera with me, and anytime I would walk away from the camera to go do something else, because we always have a small crew, he instantly goes and grabs the tripod, and he's just like, finding the shot. A lot of times I just let him do it because he just loved it, and he'll tweak the shot and get a better composition, and he was always just trying to tweak to make everything a little bit better. Like when we do shows, we set up our big displays, and even during the show, the entire time, he's just slightly tweaking it to make it a little bit better. And then we're like at 100% at by the time we're like ready to wrap, he's like, over there could use a nice little light. And he just pulls out a light out of nowhere and shines it up. And he's just always adding that extra detail and aesthetic.
Yeah. That's why I came with the joke.
Production.
Yeah. Like the show build is finished when the show ends, is what we always used to joke about.
Yeah.
And that reminds me one time I can't remember what show it was, there's so many of them, but I remember Dirty Donnie was hanging out with us too, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so I was also messing a lot of stuff. And Donnie's like, you and Mark just need to stop and go to the show. Like, those are the banners.
I remember that. That was in banning.
Yeah, like I remember Donnie's like, dude, just stop. Like, no, we gotta fix the banner.
Yeah.
But it's funny to hear another artist yell at you to put it down.
I remember him taking like little business cards and flyers from other people that were also selling, like Rob Anthony and anybody else that Mayfair, people like that, Coin Taker, and he'd throw them on our table. Oh, hey, they want to buy this from these guys. These guys have good product. Like, go out there, tell them to go buy from these guys. And he was always that kind of person. Nobody was ever competition to him in that mindset. In that regard, it was just more about being inclusive, and that was fun to watch Mark do that. He'd make his rounds
because he liked collecting business cards.
Yeah, he did that.
He did have a nice collection. It's true.
And free pens. Like every pen in our building, Marco Specialties as a company has never purchased a box of pens. So I remember when you would take me to the IAPA and Amusement Expo. Those are the commercial trade shows from back in the 90s. I'm like 12. You would send me around. It's like, go get every pen you can in the show. Of course, these are massive trade shows. That's how it kept me busy all day. So. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, even like show flyers too. Show flyers, we have them on our website for like a penny. But he'd be like, oh, there's people that couldn't make it to the show. We want to give them the flyer. And like, this is going to sell, Mark. And lo and behold, like the next day almost, or same day, somebody's ordering a flyer from like Germany.
Oh, he put the show flyers on?
Oh, yeah. Show flyers,
you guys from throwing away. So Mark quickly figured out if it was on the website, then we wouldn't get cleaned up and throw it away. So it was like old newspapers on
Yeah, he's...
Yeah.
Oh.
He just hates seeing things get thrown away. Like seriously, even after a show had passed, we'd have sometimes we'd have a few extra stacks of them. You use those for no cards. Like you just would not throw away anything, which was a common stress point sometimes between him and Nancy. But
I think a lot of pinball techie people are like that, right? They try to save a piece of something, even if it's rusted, because there might be a time when you need it, right? And so Mark's mindset was like that about everything.
Yeah. Somebody somewhere needs this.
Yeah.
And a lot of times he was right. He was right.
Yeah, I was going to say 9 times out of 10 he was right.
That's that new company slogan somewhere.
Somewhere somebody needs this.
When we expand to other product lines. Yeah.
Is that our rebranding?
That's actually a really good product line. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Good, we got this recorded.
I know. He would love that, actually.
Look at the domain right now.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we have another video. We are coming across. We're getting up to about the hour, so we want to keep going with some videos. Let's do your walkthrough video with him as he kind of tours the shop. Mamoto, if we could cue that up and play that.
All right. So I'm going to preface this real quick. Our office looks a lot different than what it looks like. We shot this over 2 years ago. A lot has changed.
The before times.
Yeah. So even too, I don't think Paul and Marco you guys have seen this walkthrough.
No, I haven't.
None of it is really in the About Us video at all. It was kind of one of those things where we were kind of, I think, setting up for another interview somewhere else, and I was just like, hey, I'm gonna take my camera and we're gonna get some B-roll. And as I'm just trying to get, B-roll shots of like, the filing cabinets or the products, Mark just starts talking and telling me about every little thing. So I was like, well, I'm just going to record on all of this because this is great. So, but also knowing that it's not going to be a lot of the stuff, I feel like it's a special treat for everyone because it's very behind the scenes, closed doors type of stuff. But it was really great to see his passion and document it. It might be the most raw Mark footage we have.
There are shots in the Marco Specialty videos of him walking and talking and showing off.
Right, so, but it's just B-roll.
We used the B-roll. Yeah,
but just as B-roll, we're not like
we had
following
no expectations
him in this kind of
no expectations from the footage. It wasn't planned. It was just
he was just
he was just saying such great stuff, so I just kept rolling, like he never stopped the camera, and then James just played all of it. It's great. Nothing. I watched it again, and nothing's like, oh no, but
that's why I gave you a raise.
But you are gonna see it and be like, oh wow, that's what it used to look like.
Can't use the blackmail anymore, huh?
Paul's done lots of reorganizing of our office space since then. In the
office
past
space
2
looks
years,
a lot nicer.
Oh, throw me under the bus, thanks.
No, you make it look better than what it does in the video. Is what I'm saying. No one can see the after though; they only see the before.
It's not a bad thing.
But let them believe that it's fun.
Right. All right, I'm gonna go over to the video now.
The Hollywood magic.
All right, let's check.
It all comes together in the edit.
Here we go. Colin.
Come on in, world headquarters. Let's see what's happening in the wonderful world of pinball. And here is our crack team of customer service representatives. And furthermore, we have my hovel office and our crack team of administrators.
What are these plaques on?
Oh, just these are some awards we've picked up over the years from the shows we go to. They appreciate when we come by with the new games. And over here is where the magic happens. Shipping and receiving. Whole bunch of talented, accurate picker, packers, and shippers. Here's targets over here, rubber over here, injection molded parts over here, cabinet push buttons over here, larger bulk quantity things like legs and side rails and glass wind through here, and we can find coin doors, plastic sets, leg protectors. This is 10,000 pounds of pinballs. That's very interesting.
How many pinballs, like what's the maximum amount someone bought once, like the biggest order of pinballs?
Well, the factories order, 10,000 at a time. All the manufacturers, depending on the size of the production runs and how many balls are in a game, they can order 10 or 20 or 30,000 pinballs at a time. And we have some metal stamping here. It's getting a little snug, but we'll expand shortly, I hope. This is important to pinball, is the coil aisle. There's 1,000 different flavors of coils going back 50 years. So we try to get all those reproduced where possible. Here we have a lot of brackets, metal stampings. Let's take a walk upstairs. Say hello to Emoto. Some shipping supplies, lots of bubble wrap. Ramp City. Ramp City plastic, Ramp City metal. I don't know. You can squeeze through here. We can get into the playfield department.
So tell me about some of these places.
They're mostly, new old stock and new production of from all the guys who are making them, domestically and overseas. A lot of Stern stuff, a lot of Williams Bally stuff, a lot of back glasses, mostly repro, some old stock. Ooh, Batman Pre-66. Didn't know we had that. Let's see. Here's the photo studio, something you'd be interested in. We have to take pictures of all the widgets. We probably have 1 million images online at this point in time. This is the archival library. Yeah, this is all been digitized, so we can look up things pretty quickly if paperwork once existed.
Can you show me one of them?
Yeah, we can look at, let's see, pick out something like this. Here's an old Chicago coin firecracker manual. So here's the, and we sell the originals when we have them, or the reproductions if we don't have it scanned. So this is great when you need a big old schematic. This one's a little messed up, but it's still legible.
Seems like belonging in a museum, right?
Yeah, well, that's why you gotta keep them climate controlled and protected, and it's a library.
What's the percentage of how many manuals you think you have based on how many?
A few thousand, I suppose.
Looks like you have every single manual.
Well, yeah, we try to. If we don't, we go out and seek it out and buy it online or buy it from whoever might have an old library. But this is 30 years of data. Circuit boards, yeah. All the guys who are making repro circuit boards, we carry as many of those as possible. Sell a lot of ultimate boards for the Bally systems. Let's see what else. The pin score stuff is over here. Here's some toys left over from Harley. We've got shuffle alley parts. Better run back this way. Speakers. There's a lot of parts in these things. Here are the pin score display systems. We sell a lot of those. And yeah, those are the big general topics. There's more bulk storage over there for rubber and steel upstairs there. We really should have put a mezzanine in the whole building instead of just that corner, but We'll put another building up, and I think that will get us through the next few years.
You're gonna make another building for more parts.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do? Leave them outside? The rest is just postage. There's a box of stuff waiting to walk out the door. What did I forget? I forgot the database. That's what we got. The main thing is the IT, which you can't see. So everyone here has access to an awful lot of information on pinball machines. That's why we have all these screens to dig into and add data to. The customers provide a lot of data. If you own the machine, then you can help us. You can help everybody if you know what's in it.
So people just kind of reach out to you and be like, hey, I've been working on this.
Yeah, help me out. And we help them, they help us. It's very cooperative, really. It has to be. There's no other place to do it. Well, thanks a lot, and come by and see us if you're in the neighborhood, and keep fixing those machines. See you later.
I love the ending where he's just like, it's a team effort between everyone and the customers, us all working together to make sure these pinball machines stay alive.
So, guys,
The
now
journey.
you've seen all the footage that no one's seen. So what's next for Marco, guys? Tell us. That's our final question, and the question we're going to wrap up on. What is the future for Marco Specialties? Oh, I'm sorry, Marco Pinball now.
Who wants to go first?
You want to take the lead on that?
It's like, not it.
And you're being documented, yeah.
We'll
Exactly.
keep pinball alive.
no pressure.
We're going to keep pinball alive.
Many
Keep it nice and generic.
Years
I think
involved.
Marco Airlines in the future.
Marco Airlines.
I think our current mission is to continue living and working Mark's dream,
Yeah.
right? And that is to keep all those beautiful works of art out of the landfill. And that's our main goal, and it always has been, and it always will be. But Paul, you may have some more specifics on that.
No, all right, you're not fired. Good job.
I think that's how a lot of us are guiding our day-to-day passions and decision making right now. Is just like, what would Mark do? How would he feel about this? And always keep that in mind. And we were doing that before too. But yeah, like Mitch said, it's all about just, keeping everything he's built alive and sustainable. And, for him to be proud of us at the end of the day,
Yep. So, to use Dad's words, we want to keep Marco out of the landfill. So that's really the primary directive. Right?
Sorry,
Marco Ramirez out of the landfill.
we're not putting you in the landfill just yet.
We're not letting you off that easy. For those of you that don't know, I think most people in the industry know Mark had a cancer scare 10 years ago. And that's what kind of woke us up and go, wow, this has grown way beyond anything we've ever expected. What started out as, Mark just making ends meet and doing his thing and, just hustling and building out, like, a little trivia, Marco Specialties, he named that the company because when he started, he didn't know what he was going to be doing yet. So that's what he always joked about. It's like, oh, yeah, we're not very creative around here. And, yeah, we have lots of specialties. I don't know. So, and so we used to do the video game parts. We used to operate routes back in the day. We've done a lot of everything: coin machines, pool tables, you name it. So you can guess who had to move all that stuff around? This guy. Yeah, I won't say how old I was since we're being recorded, but so once we realized that this is grown beyond just Mark and the family, like we had, it's kind of a weird moment of holy crap, there's other people's whose livelihoods are dependent on this industry. And then we started looking around and realized, and early on, we always get the calls like people that would visit us would say, oh wow, I didn't know you guys weren't so big, because Mark is always big on good marketing, good presentation. It's funny, I was just going through the room, we had the on hold music, I just found a little MP3 player we used to use for that. in the back before we upgraded to voice over IP phones. Some of that stuff in high school.
Can we still use that?
Yeah, I think it's still got the files. I gotta send this to you, Mo, so you can download everything off here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you ever called to Marco, this little piece of it wasn't even a brand name, it was a little Phillips piece of crap right here. Yeah.
Raw history here.
Yeah, like if I will say it's a good thing that like sites like Wish.com didn't exist 20 years ago. We would have never started because Mark just kept ordering tchotchkes off of there all the time. Oh yeah. Loved a good deal
and a good gadget.
And a good gadget, yeah. And that's one of the reasons he loved Godzilla so much. They had a lot of toys and gadgets on there. At the end of the day, you just love gadgets. It's great. So the future is thank good. Like while we're all beyond crushed that we lost Mark this early, we're grateful that we thought we were going to lose him 10 years ago. The cancer he had an 80% survival rate in 4 years. So we were counting our blessings every day that we had Mark for as long as we did. It was not looking good back then. He's laid up inpatient and it was not a good time. And that's one of the reasons I came back in full steam in the business too, was to come help and support in the meantime. But the one thing I knew is that it couldn't have been just me carrying the team going forward, because Mark did absolutely everything, and then this thing was growing on top of that. And I think we all saw like, okay, we can't. It's not a one-man show anymore. We have to figure out a way to get other people into this and get it going. So and we've had a lot of success there. We got Steve and Marco with us, which the company would not be in business today without these guys. And you and Emoto and James are. I still can't. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, Emoto, how we actually convinced you to work for us or work with us rather.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, I know, like, it was way too cool to work with.
Yeah, no, I just remember being shocked, like, what is she doing working with us?
Like, oh, crap, a girl!
No, I love you guys. You guys are so much fun. And
I know.
Like Marco was saying, too, like, I don't ever want to be in that kind of corporate America landscape. And, just with working with bigger companies, like, being a camera operator on a big show or something, you're making money for some CEOs that you never meet. But with Marco Specialties, it's like, this is the family that we're working hard to sustain our livelihoods while we're helping an entire community, Yeah, I love the mom and pop shop type feel of our company. Everyone has a say, everyone has a voice, everyone is important. All of our families are important beyond just the work life, but our core values are very strong, and it all revolves around just being happy, doing good work, and keeping pinball alive. I mean, what more can you ask for? It's great.
And you've been very kind to us about letting us do quirky video stuff too. So to allow us to express ourselves while promoting those things, allowing us to play with the medium a little bit. So it's been a lot. You've let us be creative, which has been which makes it a lot more fun than having that constraint.
Well, next time you're in town, Emoto and James, we gotta go dig out the old VHS videos that Mark had us make as kids. They're pretty
I can transfer all that stuff. So we
had a lot of them transferred. So we gotta go find a reel of those. Get the early years in there. But but I kind of didn't get to the end question, like what's in the future, and like that's who knows. It's all a giant pinball machine at the end of the day. But we're trying to get through the next year. As we all know, it's tough. But the good news is that Mark is always very conservative over the last 30 years. We always try to we always kept cash in the bank. We always didn't hire more people than we could afford, and we've always managed growth organically as a company. So I'm fortunate. I've been when you grow up in the business, I had to step away a couple of times, earlier in my career just to get more perspective. And every time I come back here, I realize how, a lot of people run companies with the intention of getting out of them, and you can always tell those people pretty quickly. We always used to joke like, "Yeah, Mark, when are you gonna retire?" And I always like to joke, he retired 35 years ago when he started his business. So. that it's a whole different culture and perspective on there. And like, you see a lot of companies going, we're a family business. Yeah. Like, well, no, really, like, that's really the magic glue. Like, that's a lot of soul searching I've had to do over the last couple of years. Is okay, what's the magic going on here? Because we can't afford to pay at Silicon Valley rates, and we're not. Well, now Columbia is cool, but when we started this business, it definitely wasn't. And all sorts of little things like that. Like, what's the secret sauce here? Why is this thing still working? And those of you that know Mark knows that he wasn't the guy that was going to go out and actively recruit people. Like, he had to know you first before he opened up to you. So, like, all those little pieces come together. Like, what's the secret sauce here? And we realize that it's the magic of pinball and the community aspects of it, especially. So we try to use that word a lot these days. Is how we focus on the community. And we spent every marketing dollar we've ever had on supporting the community, either through the shows, through promoting shows. Mark fell in love with those. We were like the first sponsor of Texas Pinball Festival, I guess 15 years ago now, I want to say. Something like that. You lose track of time. But
so you guys going to still stay a presence in most of these shows coming?
That's been
like
what
shows a year. But
that's why. Yeah, without the help of Emoto and Marco and Steve and Kim and everybody else and Kyle and the whole crew, it takes an army. If you've hung out with us at shows, you've seen a lot of familiar faces and also a lot of different faces, because we also have a lot of people volunteer and help us out from the community aspect too, because they like being part of our silliness, and which kind of peaked at MGC this year. Like Emoto and I was like late one night, Emoto, we Godzilla, we got to take advantage of this. I was so happy that booth came together, because when we first started going to pinball shows, there was no new pinball machines at shows, zero. Like those first couple of years of shows, like I remember we're at Texas Pinball Festival, like I think Tron or something just come out around that era. I was like, wait a second, we're at like Texas at the time was definitely the largest pinball show in the country, or definitely up there, maybe Allentown and a couple other ones, but like it's like, wow, this is like thousands of people here, and there's no new pinball machines here. What the heck? So that's what inspired us to call Stern. Like, guys, you gotta let us do something here. And you gotta remember, Stern was, literally fighting to stay alive back then. They didn't have the marketing budget of the dollar, so, we helped just. I don't know why. Like, if we had any regular accountant looking at the books when we were doing that program, they would cancel this whole program 10 years ago. And every new hire comes in here, and we always have the same discussion. Like, why are you doing this? Like,
community service.
Yeah.
Because Mark always taught me, when you're traveling, as long as you're doing pinball stuff, it's a business expense. So here we are. And so that's part of it. That's a family vacation. I was going doing pinball stuff, and this was a way to scale that and to take the employees out. And once you gotta remember, when you're working customer service all day long, everyone calling you has a problem, and you sometimes forget over time. Wait, actually, most people love what we're doing here. So that's the other reason we try to get everybody to go out to see the shows at the communities, because people are happy to see people there. So,
and that's where you hooked me. I was trying to film you, and you're like, you need to go play some pinball, James.
Yeah.
There's a tournament. I signed you up for a tournament. And I
went, that's right. I kicked you out of the nest for that one.
And then I was just like, hang on, it's supposed to be fun. No, you got to go play pinball. This is
that's
supposed to be fun.
Go
play fun. And then I'll hook you. And then you'll be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked pretty well.
Yeah. So the future is going to be community-oriented in some context. It's going to involve pinball. It's going to involve more parts. We're heavily focused on, invest, and I was talking to Mark about this earlier, like just really reinvesting in our people too. We got still some vacuums to fill. One of the very last things we convinced Mark to finally delegate was the order checking. So what most people know is Mark watched every single freaking order that came into the system. All of them.
True.
Like, much to the CSR, the customer service people would just get it'd be like 3 a.m. Mark's like, hey, fix this order.
I saw him on there making those updates in the middle of the night.
If you put an order in ever, Mark saw it, almost definitely, yeah. And he recognized just about everybody, especially if you ordered more than a couple of times. He would remember. And so that's what always blow people away at shows. They tell you your name, Mark's like, oh, yeah, you had a Twilight Zone ring kit you ordered last week. It kind of freaked out people a little bit.
Thanks for the mug.
Yeah.
Yeah, free mugs, free hats, T-shirts sometimes.
Yeah.
Anything that you got in there, thrown in there randomly, that was all Mark.
Yeah.
That was all Mark.
Yeah, you slide in and throw an extra line on it. Yeah, so.
Yeah. You recognize your name and be like, oh, this is their third order. They can have a keychain or a mug. Yeah.
Yeah. And, we get a lot of people that complain, too, about, one of our biggest complaints is we ship very quickly, right? I mean, we actually had a couple of Stern guys order some stuff from us recently, and within 2 hours, the order was in and out of the door, on a Monday or Tuesday. And, Mark was a big advocate. We get a lot of people that complain about like our shipping rates. We'll do a whole nother podcast on that one day. But
Yeah, there you go.
Mark was a big advocate about combining shipping and saving the customer on shipping. So if you ever place an order like almost back to back and it ever got combined, it was Mark doing all of that on the back end at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, he was constantly watching that stuff. In one of those videos you guys showed when he said, the priority is taking care of our customer, I mean, he's always been about that. And so much so, it's like, it felt like sometimes it feels like it's a dad trying to get you to stay in school because that's the best route, for that was Mark with the customer. What does the customer want? Anytime we go into a meeting, we're doing 7-day operations now. That was the biggest reason why we're doing that now is because of Mark. Him pushing for that.
Oh yeah, he fought hard for that.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm here 5 days a week. I don't want to be here 7 days a week, because it gets a little overwhelming at times. But we've grown the team. The funny thing, we walked through, the only customer service rep in that video, the last video just now was Steve. Now we have a team of about 6 people in that in those positions. So
He had a Blackbeard before that.
Pepper it on us.
Yeah, so when that video was shot, I think we had like maybe 11, 12 people. Now we're at 28, about to be 30, somewhere in that range on site. I mean, plus contractors and everybody else that we have on the team as well. So, we're growing it. The day-to-day stuff, you orders going out the door, things like that. That stuff is going to still continue for us. Mark was slowly detaching himself from that process. And I think we have a lot of accumulated hours between us 3 and also other people on the leadership team as well, where we know where he wanted to go with the company and his vision on a lot of things. So, there's still a lot to be done. Like Mark said, we're probably a third of the way there, but we're going to keep plugging away at it. And the biggest help is always the customers too. Having the customers call in. If you ever see something that you don't see on the website or we don't carry at all, call it in, because Mark was always, he'll stop anything that he's doing to go find that part for you. And we have a whole team now that can handle those calls or those requests. So keep doing that, because we depend on you guys to survive, and to keep growing. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, and the cool thing is now the industry is in its 4th renaissance. When we started in the 90s, that was towards the peak of the William Valley era, where they're making 100,000 machines a year, and there's dozens of companies. And then 2 crashes later, after .com happened and the internet, and then was just down the Stern, who was the last company to stay in business. And if Stern had closed, we probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. But they hung on, and now you have over 10 companies making new games. I've lost count. And so that's going to be a focus too going forward, is how do we keep supporting and encouraging those companies. So that's one area we're focused on. We're focused on makers now, how we get more people to build more pinball machines.
Homebrew.
The makers in the homebrew community.
It's all about that.
There's a lot more people getting into on the supply chain side now too. So, just as much time as Mark and the crew has spent on the phone with customers, we also spend on the phone with suppliers. There's thousands of small shops making parts for games, and we're trying to support all those. So those are all areas that we're investing in and trying to grow. And that's all comes back to the community aspect, because we realize that a lot of our customers are also suppliers, which are also sometimes employees too. Like they hit all 3 of the big groups that we have to take care of as a company. So yeah, those are all areas which we'll continue to invest in. And it's kind of staying flexible and recruiting and retaining. And if anyone wants to come to South Carolina, shoot us your resume, please. Yeah.
Also, too, if anybody has some video, or they've produced a little video about what they're doing related to pinball, let Amoto and I know, and we can.
Oh yeah, media, duh. Yeah, so like that's the other aspect.
Let us come upon. Yeah, let's talk about it, and let us highlight you on our Big Picture Pinball Show.
So like this whole streaming aspect was a happy little accident after COVID started that we got this going, and then I think this is going to be another investment area for us. I still got to figure out how to make money off it, but that's detail. But this falls the same bucket as the shows do. It brings the community together and helps us hang out with people. And I know it's great for everyone that's involved with the program. I see everyone that works on this is happier. It's scary the first time you got on camera. I'm sweating bullets over here, but you're doing great. Yeah, so.
You guys did great today. Paul,
Yeah,
you
thank
and
you very
Marco
much.
should be on our show way more often. Right, Mitch?
Yeah,
Bring 'em out of
absolutely.
Pinto.
Bring it.
Put it on the calendar. So I can go roast Kyle some more.
Yeah, no, we totally need a Kyle roaster.
Oh, yeah, you guys would love Pintech Live because it's just like 2 hours of roasting Kyle
I
while
know.
he teaches us stuff.
Oh, hey, Dave.
Well, I think we should probably wrap up
Oh,
this
hey, Dave.
episode. I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to thank Steve and Marco and
Do we want to do
Paul,
questions here?
as well as that's a good okay. Sounds good. I guess we did talk about that, so let's do
I mean,
it.
if you need to go to bed, James, it's fine. You can-
I'm so sleepy. I'm so sleepy.
I'll change the layout.
You're in the same time zone I am.
Yeah, if anyone does
Money,
have any
money.
questions, y'all in the
Money,
chat,
money.
if you have any questions for us, feel free to drop it in the chat.
We will ask the men of Marco. The men of Marco.
I haven't been watching the chat too much.
There's
Mother,
been,
what do
you
you
should go back later and watch it. You can watch it on YouTube. Might be the easiest way to see the chat. Lots of great things. A lot of people commenting. Nice memories.
Colin.
Colin Baxter never fails. Love you, Colin. But why do
So,
you-
what's the answer?
Your throat gets dry when you talk.
So, what are you
Nice.
drinking, everybody?
You having coffee this late, Marco?
Yeah,
No.
Marco's drinking coffee, obviously, out of
Yeah.
our signature Marco Specialties coffee cup.
And we both got fizzy waters in our signature Marco Specialties koozies.
This is like, I was really. This is one of my favorite things that I had nothing to do with. I love it. The Grand Champion thing.
You have to
What is
customize
the
it.
Grand Champion thing? I don't.
Oh, have you seen this? Like, what was this you?
You have
like
to
a
customize it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
so,
not
yeah.
my idea. I mean,
No, who was it? It
yes,
was
as far as
Crystal?
integrating it onto there was my idea, but at Ace Gogi, our league in Los Angeles, the On Tilt League, they had a design of a shirt and some cups where you could, you circle in, you Sharpie in all the dots so you can make your Grand Champ initials and you customize it.
Have you had that stuff, Colin? It's real and it's weird. The hop flavored fizzy water, that stuff is bizarre.
What was Mark's secret favorite pin? Hard body. You know what? Mark loved hard body just as much as me. But he wouldn't tell people that.
I feel like he loved Raven just as much as me because
I
it was
know.
my first machine. So I think he just instilled that love
I
of
think so.
every machine.
Well, let's actually go
I
through
think you're
that.
right.
Paul, what was your favorite game? Your favorite
Well,
game month? Yeah, can only
It's a
pick
tricky
one.
one because I had a space shuttle in my room growing up, so that's the one I had a lot of time on. So that game was a fantastic game.
And isn't that where you kind of learned to master the game too? Like you understood the zen of pinball out of it as well.
No, I was like 10.
Oh, I thought you told us a story that I've got somewhere.
No, so I was
Zen of pinball and finding.
I was growing up and I moved out last week. Now,
And you're still.
yeah, we had. I remember like Bobby Orr Power Play. We had one of those back in the shop, and there was one summer where I was working, and that was just the game that I finally like started to really get the old 70s, 80s games. That wasn't just this is because when you're younger. And you remember, I grew up in the DMD area, so you come off of playing Asphalt, and you play, that's all crappy game. There's no ramps, and this thing sucks. But then you start playing, and I finally go, oh, this is actually really
The
fun.
rules,
You know?
yeah.
That's what the value of playing the simpler games teaches you is that, you can get over that hump. You're like, there's a strategy to this thing, and you get a high score, and so that game stands out. And also like the Gary Stern line. The latest game is always my favorite game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's got to be Rush.
Dude,
Yeah,
Rush
Rush is my brand new favorite game.
Like the latest game I have at home right now is Iron Maiden, which I really like a lot. It's great whenever a new designer releases a game. It's just something different, like really different, and that's what's exciting about that game. And for those who don't know, that game is actually particularly special because I saw all the early versions of Archer prototype that Keith was working on at pinball shows.
Right.
So when you know the full story of a game since its inception, that makes it a little bit specialer. I spent a year working at Stern too, so that's when Ghostbusters got developed, and worked on some stuff there. And yeah, all the games that you know the story behind tend to be my favorite games. So that's why actually Ghostbusters is one of my favorite games because I got to see that thing go through its entire design cycle. And a couple of other games. Game of Thrones, same way.
Great game.
So those are the other two games I have in my collection too. So,
Mitch, what's your favorite game? And then we'll
I mean, it's such a hard question, man. And I really love the oddball stuff.
yeah.
So probably Gottlieb Hot Shots, something like that is going to be way up on my list. But again, every game is incredible, right? There's no such thing as a bad pinball machine.
There's only better ones.
Yeah.
Marco, what's your
I would say number one would be Gottlieb Hulk. Biggest reason why was because that was the first game that Mark just gave me, and it was literally like a playfield, a cabinet, and a box of parts.
Wow.
And it was just like I was like, Mark, I don't think I have enough parts in this box for this game. He's like, well, where can you find more parts? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But no, that would probably be my number one. And then after that, I would say definitely Batman 66.
That is a fantastic game.
Which is
really
it's a game that Mark actually, ironically enough, over the last couple of months, he was trying to get something at his house, and he's been asking me about two games. Batman 66 was the first one, and then the other one was the Godzilla Premium, which we don't have in stock. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, I dropped off a Batman 66 at his home. We had a LE, and we still have a Super LE as well, but we had an LE that was at the shop, and anytime somebody wanted to come in and buy it, Mark would look at me, and I'm like, yeah, you don't want to sell that game. But anyway, yeah, we had fun I played it with him several times. I mean, we would stay 8, 9 o'clock at night at the shop just playing the game, and I would watch him. It was one of the very few games that he intentionally played all the time, which was great. So, yeah, those would be my top 1 and 2.
What do you guys think as far as if we were to invent a game? What
Tesla pinball.
Tesla pinball.
Just
That's
electric
Mark's
vehicle
favorite.
pinball,
That's Mark's favorite pinball machine
Yeah.
yet to be
yeah.
created.
Alternative power sources pinball. Yeah.
What makes
Maybe
it
been to South Carolina. If Mark sold pinball machines half as hard as he sold Teslas, we'd all be
Yeah,
retired.
we'd be done by now. Yeah.
in a good game? Is it the ramp shots? Is it the game set itself? Is it the theming? What really makes a great game? If I were to walk around,
It's the combination of all those things.
The one that breaks the most often.
It's
makes
the
us
core.
most
Yeah,
money.
I mean that's true. But it's the choreography. It's the choreography. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. I think there's intrinsic value there. To me, it's three things. It's got to have good sound or good music, good artwork on it, and then just fun to play. And if it hits one or two of those things, then to me that's a good pinball machine. And it doesn't have to be all three. Some of these rock band themes I'm not a fan of, but at the end of the day I play it. I'm like, oh man, I had a lot of fun with it. And the good thing about Stern, especially recently with these newer games, is they're getting into the artwork a lot more, which makes it a piece of art in itself. Right. And that to me is very valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, Rush just came out. I saw y'all talking about that in the chat. Looks beautiful. The artwork is by a new artist to the pinball community, which is really exciting. And game like that, like Rush, I know Rush. I could name a few songs, but I don't listen to Rush. Same with
you were
other
born in 1970.
bands. But the pinball machine, or Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't watch Guardians of the Galaxy before playing the game. The pinball machine also does this thing where it's you become a fan because of the pinball machine. I'm starting to listen to Rush music now on my own just because I'm excited to play the pinball machine and stuff like that. I wouldn't have been introduced to, I don't want to say Iron Man because I know Iron Man, but Iron Maiden songs, and now it's like
he talks about kinetic art and embracing
pinball
the
captures you.
Yeah, it embraces popular culture. So, and it is something kinetic and alive. It is something much more than that. And I like when you guys talk about the choreography, the ballet of the game, that makes a good game. So, you got to play it, and you can play it with your friends, and that's also kind of nice where you can do. Multiple people can interact with it and play it in different ways and always explore and find new things out about the game. It's an amazing medium, I think. It's really a lot of fun. So,
you can always spot the games that somebody had a good singular vision for what the game needed to be. You can also, if you look back over the eras of pinball, because you got to remember, and as Gary would famously say, they still are a production company. They have deadlines to hit for the production line. So sometimes they scrap a game together and they just get it out the door. And sometimes the way it works out is they have a lot more time to work on a game. And sometimes you get the right artists to work on a game that understand the physics and the sound and the music. And there's some rare talent that are great at all the dimensions of a game. So when you have enough budgets, enough people working on it, and good leadership, so the game's going to ship no matter what. But sometimes the stars align, and you get an especially good team to build a good game.
Same thing for filmmaking.
Right. Yeah.
There's always like this drop dead, delivery date for it, and you got to get it out the door. And there's always a budget. Always fighting with budget and talent to create the thing. So
yeah, exactly.
All those people who watch this podcast because we say it's related to filmmaking.
Well, and
pinball really is. It's making a pinball game is making a film in a lot of ways. So
it's almost the exact same process. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Any
definitely. Other questions in our chat? Anything that we want to pull in from our audience?
A lot of people were asking what Mark's favorite game was, but I don't know if.
Did he ever answer?
I mean, besides Tesla Pinball, which would have definitely been.
No, we had a safecracker at home for a long time.
And Scared Stiff.
Oh, yeah.
He really liked Scared Stiff.
He loved the games with the good humor in them. Mark loved good humor, so Scared Stiff, Needle of Madness, we had in the garage for a long time. Sold it way too cheap.
Thanks, Colin. See you Thursday.
Yeah, he loved the games that had great voice acting and that also had good flow to them too. So he's always a bigger fan of those games. And he used to operate too, so he always liked the games that made a little bit of money too. Do you have an all-time favorite? I can't remember him actually. Like he'd always dodge that question pretty well when people would ask him.
It was the same as Gary Stern.
Yeah,
100% of the time.
Yeah. So it's I'll have to dig a little bit more on that because I was trying to think back to the ones that we naturally gravitated towards.
Which ones did he bring home?
Right. Yeah. So we had. There was the space shuttle was at home for a while. We ran out of space, so then he convinced the neighbors to put in a couple games there. He delegated that. So we had a firepower across the street from our neighbor's house.
That's great.
We had the safecracker. I'm not going proper order here. And there would be a period too where Nancy's like, get this crap out of the house. I got stuff to take it to work. Yeah. But then
Lynn said Simpsons Pinball Party, which is actually sitting right behind you and is, one of Yo's parents' games too.
Yeah, he was a huge Simpsons fan.
He was so excited when we fixed that. Oh, it's on the other. Oh yeah, you guys don't have it.
We don't have a pinball party.
Kyle's the one that has the pinball party at transmission.
Yeah.
Like we got planets over here. That's the. Should I do the camera over there? Do you see that? Or
just tell the story.
Yeah, like Mark and Nancy, the very first game they had their first date on was Planets Pinball. Was that Andrew that found it? Yeah. Our sales guy at times like. This is back in the era when they were making, different versions for New York City to get around the laws. There's probably 50 or 100 of these things in existence right now. One of our sales guys about 10 years ago found it. And we're not sure if it's the one that they actually played on or not, but it's like, so it's pretty cool. So we have one of those back here. That's old EM. Not that fun. But.
I have a great video
That's
of
great
him
artwork, though.
telling us about the kind of origin story of that planet, Stu. Yeah. In a few weeks here, we're going to do a PinTech Live episode where Kyle is going to fix it up so it plays and flips, and we'll kind of talk about getting.
Yeah, it's been sitting in the queue for a while. Yeah,
That's exciting. So Excellent. Any other questions? I think we are tapped. Done the deed. So thank you guys very much for letting us do this program.
Thank you, James and Emoto.
Yes, this is very special.
Thanks, y'all.
So I want to thank all you guys for coming on, and I also want to give a shout out and a thank you to my co-producer Emoto. Thank you very much for helping me to produce this show and pull it off. So I appreciate it.
And just thank you all from our family too for your support for the last couple of weeks. It's been honestly completely mind-blowing. You wouldn't believe how many people traveled in from out of state to come see us. So, and all the well wishes we got from everybody. So just thank you all again. It makes this all a little bit easier to bear. Not much, but it helps. Yeah. And it's a good reminder for why we're doing all this too. So you can go and work on this thing for years, and sometimes you forget. I get mad. I'm like, I don't want to do this crap anymore. But it's then you take a step back and you look at it, and it's really a truly special thing that we've built here, and we want to keep it going. So,
nice.
Yeah, thank you all.
Yeah, and thanks for everyone that sent in their memories to memories@marcopinball.com.
Yes,
I put that in the
those.
chat.
It's hard. The tearjerkers.
I've read every single one, and they are all amazing stories. And we plan on treasuring those forever. So, too, if you have any stories of meeting Mark at a show, or maybe some pictures or video that he's in, maybe even in the background.
Yeah, if you have anything sitting on your phone, just throw it in there. And we got to figure out what to do with that. Like, we'll either print it or get on a website or something like that. So,
I have ideas.
Yeah.
I got the ideas.
Wheels are cranking.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Thank everyone in the chat. We'll be back in a couple weeks for Big Picture Pinball Show. Check out our social, Facebook and Instagram for an update of our episode, of what we're doing. It'll be we'll be coming into season 2 for our 2022 year.
Season 2? Wow, that's quick.
We're going into season 2. This is a great wrap up of season 1. Yeah. It's 9 episodes.
Into a new year and into new shows. So now we just got to find them. So if anybody's got any show ideas, bring them in. We're always interested in videos and any clips. If you've got them and you've produced something fun, let us share it and talk to you.
Yeah.
So
merging the passions of pinball and movies together. Another one of Mark's streams.
That's an edit. That is an edit.
All right. So for everyone sticking around on Twitch, we are going to go show some love to other Twitch streamers. So Fliptronic is playing Stranger Things.
Cool.
And they're doing some strategy achievements. I think they're doing Insider Connected achievements.
They're connected.
Maybe. I might have made that up. Anyways, they're fun to watch. Please show them some love. And we'll see everyone on Thursday for Pintech Live.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we love you all. Thank you.
Rated. I'm going to go back to the content screen.